Hello and welcome to episode 15 of my podcast, The Pocket Stylist. I'm Lisa Talbot, and I cannot believe we're kind of rolling into episode 15 this week. But we've had some amazing chats, great conversations, and I think today's one is going to be another good one. So I'm really lucky today. I've been joined by Sarah Waisel, who, funnily enough, I met on Clubhouse. I've met loads of people on Clubhouse, really exciting people. Sarah, hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, thanks for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. Before we get going, would you like to tell everybody a little bit about you, where you live, where are you based, that type of thing? And obviously we can, for those who are watching this on Zoom, we can see beautiful sunshine in your background, which is lovely. So tell us a little bit about you and where you're based.
Yeah, well, I'm based in sunny London today, near Twickenham. And it's
great place for the rugby.
Yes, and the sun is streaming through my roof light at the moment. I work in our converted garage, which we call the den. So I've got a desk up here, and then the girls have got a piano down the other end. So yeah, that's me, and I am a marketing mentor and coach and strategist, and I just really help people work on their business problems, with marketing and how they can kind of deal with that overwhelm, because there's so much stuff out there, isn't there, for people to be, well, that people are hearing, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. So it's cutting through the noise and really working out a program that works for everybody individually.
Yeah. So do you work from home?
Yes, so this is the only place I work. It's quite hot in here today because it has actually been soundproofed, which for the girls for their piano lessons, and also we do have some disco lights in here as well. So the idea was that we could clear the furniture out, and it's all kind of movable, so that we do actually have it as a disco room, which makes it really quite warm.
Yeah, of course, because it's soundproof, you must have it insulated then.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great in the winter, but it's actually quite hot in the summer. So yeah, funnily enough, I tend to wear layers because when I'm not speaking to somebody on face-to-face like this, I can just strip this layer off.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting you say that, and it's because if you've always worked from home, interestingly then, always working from home, what do you feel comfortable wearing when you're at home? Because obviously I know lots of people have had their whole world flipped from being office based to literally being able to work from home, obviously due to the restrictions and everything that's happened. But and for lots of us who have always kind of worked out of home or from home, some of it wasn't such a big change. So what do you tend to feel comfortable working? And obviously you mentioned that you can layer because your office can get warm, but what have you tended to wear, and what do you wear in your role when you're coaching people and working with individuals and businesses?
It's a process, really. So if I'm doing something like this, or I'm going live, then I make sure that I've got a little bit of makeup on so I don't scare people, and I wear something sort of comfortable. I don't usually wear jackets or suits or that kind of thing because that's not really me anymore. But the other day, I had a coaching client in the evening, and she just had a shower because she was, she said, I want to go to bed early. And she just had like a little strappy vest top on. And so I said, oh, well, I'll take my cardigan off, my layer off. And because, again, it was a warm evening. And we just sat there like that. But I think if it's a first impressions type thing, then I'm normally a little bit more, what's the word? Not smart, but a bit more put together.
Yeah. And you know what's really interesting, because you're so right, that first impression is so important. I've always said it's that first 7 seconds of somebody meeting you. They will decide, from a business owner point of view, if they want to do business with you. And what you do in your role as a coach and as a mentor, people need to feel comfortable with you. Whereas if that first impression, you turned up in a very structured formal suit, it's a very, depending on the person that you're working with, that can put them off a little bit. So what would you say, and it's really interesting, we'd always talk about signature styles and things like that. Do you think you tend to have created yourself a little bit of a uniform, whether it be casual or work. But what kind of styling would you say that you have, or do you know? That's a good other question.
Yeah, funny enough, I did see a stylist probably about 18 months ago because I wanted to find out my colours. I mean, I thought I knew my colours that work for me, but I just wanted to really sort of check. And she sort of said, you know, after filling in various questionnaires, my style is quite eclectic and quirky. So, you know, I used to have the corporate job. Then I sort of, you know, had children, and then I went back to work as a consultant. So it's a little bit more, well, a little bit less professional than the office, but
Yep.
probably more professional, you know, than this. I was wearing a lot of dresses, you know, and nice sort of trouser suit type two pieces or whatever. Whereas now I'm in a Whistles t-shirt. I've got some harem pants on that I don't know where I got them from. Might have been a market.
Yeah.
And this is a glitzy top, well, cardigan, but it's not thick, but it's a layer. And I think that's from Topshop from a few years ago. The other day I came downstairs and I was going out to meet a client who's a lighting designer. So again, you know, I think I can be a little bit more quirky, and I had some really nice soft corduroy pale blue flares on, really boot cut flares. And when I came back from my meeting, my 13-year-old came home from school and she said, "Oh my God, Mum, I love your outfit." So that was praise indeed. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just getting more and more comfortable in, you know, what I like to wear, and that reflects me as a person.
Yeah, and you have just hit the nail perfectly on the head, because whatever we wear is so important that we love what we wear. And I always say to people, do you know what, if you're not wearing something, you know, that you feel comfortable in, that you love, you will never feel confident, because actually what you're trying to do is in some ways mold into something that you're not. And like you said, you know, you're a little bit quirky. So from my world, we kind of say it's a little bit dramatic. So there's little things about you.
Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah. There are little things about you that have a little bit of difference, whether it be the glitter thread that's running through your cardigan, or whether it's the style of trouser that you're wearing, or the animal print trainers that you're wearing, something like that. And that's exactly where a dramatic goes. A dramatic is very much, they don't really want to look like everybody else. They don't want to necessarily stick out like a sore thumb, but they certainly don't want to mold into the background. And it's really interesting because, you know, I am definitely quirky as well. So I love things that are a little bit different, whether it be a print or whether it be a color or something like that, or how we put it all together. And it's really interesting because, you know, from my perspective as a personal stylist, our job is to help and inspire and educate and all that kind of thing, but people in their own style, personality. Our job is not to create a carbon copy of ourselves. And that's where I think some cases, you know, new clients are always a little bit apprehensive. You know, when we see new clients, you know, we can talk to them and whatever, and they do always have that little bit of apprehension as to, oh my goodness, she's gonna try and make me look like her. And actually, once you get talking to a stylist, it's about you, not me, it's about you. So, you know, and this is where all these conversations that we have with clients, a bit like we're having with you, it's about understanding the person. Because if I suddenly put you in a tiered floral dress, you know, with a pretty sandal, it may look stunning. There you go, look at your face. For the people that are listening, they didn't just see your face, it was quite funny. But you're absolutely right. So it may look stunning, but it's not going to make you feel like you can, you know, ready to take on the day. You're going to be able to talk confidently about what you're doing with your clients, or, you know, whether you're going to the pub or anything like that. So it is so important. Do you think you've always kind of had that tendency then, or do you think as you've got older in life, you know, as life's journey has come along, do you think that you've become more confident to be you?
Yeah, definitely I've become more confident to be me. But excuse me, sorry, it's funny that when I look back at old photos, I used to work in radio, and so I was well, I wasn't on the radio, but I was selling radio airtime.
Yep.
For Capital Radio in London, which at the time was quite a, you know, celebrity sort of
Yeah,
base. You know, it was quite a nice, it was a lovely job. You know, there was lots of jollies and whatever, but obviously you were expected to look the part, look smart, look, you know, really good all the time. So, and when I first started there, it was a bit intimidating because obviously I had some suits and stuff, you know, but I found a really lovely little secondhand shop. And at the time, I mean, we're talking 25 years ago now, at the time you didn't have that many sort of designer secondhand shops.
Yeah.
And I remember finding a gorgeous Paul Costello trouser suit, which I used to wear with a shirt and a tie.
Nice.
And again, I found these shoes I used to wear with it as well in the loft ages ago. And I love rummaging through old stuff. I never get rid of hardly anything because a lot of what I buy is good quality.
Mm-hmm.
And having two daughters as well, it's nice to kind of pass stuff on to them. And one of the eldest came home from uni the other day, and she was saying, "Oh my God, you know, when I clear out my wardrobe," and I said, "You know, have you got, you know, can you get rid of this for me?" And I always go through it and take the good stuff and keep it for the younger daughter, put it in the loft. And she said to me, because if you've done that, I want to start selling it on Vinted and Depop. So I've always got sort of stuff that I go back to, and I won't get rid of the size 10 stuff because you never know, some miracle might happen, and I might get back into my Armani size 10 suits.
And do you know what? So you've said about two things there. So one thing I would say, you said about your daughter that came back from uni, and you know about her having a clear out, and initially you keep the good stuff for your younger daughter. But are they the same style personality? And that's the question you have to ask yourself, because if they're not, the younger daughter, going back to how we said about you like things a bit quirky and everybody has their own personality.
Yeah.
If you keep things for that younger daughter, but she's a different personality to your older daughter,
yeah,
she's never going to feel comfortable.
No, and it's always never forced. It's always, this is the bag of stuff, you know, and she loves it. You know, the younger one loves going through it. Oh, no, not that. That's horrible. No, not having that, not having that. But actually, I gave her some of my old jeans. I mean, she's very slim. She's only 13, so she can't quite get into them yet. But she is desperate to get into some of my old clothes that I can't fit. And again, when I worked in London, after I was in advertising, I did a stint as an interior designer, so that's the sort of creative in me again. And my office where I worked was very close to Vivienne Westwood's office in Battersea. She would have sample sales. And so I've got a couple of really nice pieces, and I just hate getting rid of really beautiful designer vintage stuff, you know. So my youngest is desperate to get into this pair of really gorgeous but very tiny flared soft denim, like a pinstripe denim trouser.
So that if you don't move stuff through, if you don't move stuff through, potentially you're kind of just collating items without pushing them through. So for the items that are a smaller size, I know obviously you're earmarking them for your daughters. I think it's really interesting because for me as a stylist, if you weren't passing it down to your daughters, to keep garments in your wardrobe that are not your size does create
they're not in my wardrobe. They're not in my wardrobe.
Sorry?
They're not in my wardrobe.
No, but to keep them, they can create a negative mindset, because for some ladies, they don't take things out. They keep them in their wardrobe, and actually by keeping them in the wardrobe, that's the wrong place, because you know, and because we want people to be confident in the wardrobe when they open it, knowing they can wear everything in it. There's nothing worse than you opening up your wardrobe and thinking, oh, do you know, I really love those pair of trousers, but I can't get in them. Or
Yeah,
I really love that jacket, but do you know what? It's now too tight across my back.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
I've done
about,
that. I've done the decluttering because, as you say, it is a negative experience,
yeah,
and I've got quite a big wardrobe. You know, it's a typical. I've got 80% of the wardrobe. The husband's got the other bit, but they're all clothes that I can wear
yeah, yeah.
because, you know, for me, it's got to be easy as well. And
Oh,
I'm quite organised as well with my clothes. So I've got, you know, sleeveless t-shirts, long sleeve tops, this, that, and the other. So I can just grab things. And I think, and I hope I've taught the girls that as well, to be able to mix and match.
yeah,
So,
and that's the beauty of like a capsule
yeah,
wardrobe. But and it's really interesting because once it does, exactly like you said, once it does mix and match, and yes,
yeah,
you are going to have standalone items, you are, but
yeah,
once it mixes and matches, like you said, it's easy. It's
mm,
the wardrobe that kind of, you know, you only need 10 pieces, but you can create 25 outfits. It's
yeah,
that, because if you think about it, and this is where I love to see the similarities, if you go on holiday, when you go on holiday, you go for 2 weeks, you pack a suitcase that will last you 2 weeks. And you
yeah,
make sure that the shorts goes with the top, that the dress goes with the jacket, that the shoes match the trousers that you're wearing. So what you do actually when you go on holiday, you create a capsule suitcase that's going to
yeah,
work for you for the 2 weeks. But we don't always do it when we're at home. We just collate and collate and collate and collate
yeah,
until, and this isn't, you know, this isn't everybody, because obviously you're a lady that kind of mixes and matches, but some people just collate and collate and collate, and then they kind of go, I can't see the wood for the trees, I don't know what I've got. I mean, I've worked with clients who, you know, maybe 20% of their wardrobe has labels on because they've bought it, they've put it in their wardrobe, but it doesn't go with anything, and then
yeah,
potentially they don't have the opportunity to take it back or return it and things like that. So you're absolutely right, a wardrobe is about making sure that it works for you, your personality and whatever. So just quickly before we finish, I'd be really interested to know, how do you mix your what you wear for work and what you kind of do when you're not working, or do you tend to keep very like almost like a same wardrobe, so you what you wear for work?
yeah.
Yeah,
It is quite samey now, and I think when we're in lockdown, you know, everybody went to pot. I did buy some really nice pajamas. They weren't silk, but they were really nice
yeah,
pajamas. I thought, yeah, I'm going to wear these when I'm on a call.
yeah,
I didn't in the end because they looked like pajamas, even though they had the nice collar. I just didn't. That just didn't feel right. So for me, I have to kind of get in the flow.
yeah,
I like to be, you know, in the I don't know what's the word, set up, you know, in your best sort of situation to be productive.
yeah.
But yeah, it does cross over, big, you know, and I will wear those same trousers I talked about, the, you know, earlier, the flares and various other things, and I'll wear them out to, you know, to other
Yeah.
occasions.
But again, you see, it's still having a wardrobe that works for you.
Yeah,
You know, it's about making sure it all works together. Do you know what? I love my dog dearly, but or honestly, I reckon he just wants to get on the podcast every
yeah.
single week because he just barks, and like my doors are all shut, and you can still hear him.
Well, that is a loud bark.
Yeah, but he's a big dog, so I think he barks from his belly actually. But yeah, so I think everyone who listens to the podcast on a weekly basis always gets to hear George anyway.
Makes you
Um,
stand apart, doesn't it? So
yeah,
that's good.
absolutely. So let me. Have you got a favourite item that you like wearing?
Actually, yeah, it's a pair of trousers, and they're a pinstripe. They've got an elasticated waist, which is a bonus.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and they are from Topshop on Oxford Street, which I went to. Well, that's a plane going over here. I don't know whether you can hear that.
Ah, see.
We've got all the sound effects today, haven't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I spent about 4 hours in one shop with the eldest, probably about 4 years ago, actually. I think it was when she was just about to go off to uni, and she wanted a bit of a capsule wardrobe, and we got some really nice pieces from Topshop.
yeah,
And as I say, I think this was from there, and the flares, and then these other pair of really nice pinstripe trousers, but they've got the cuff at the bottom.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Really nice.
I mean, and I really love them because you can wear them with I mean, I love my shoes as well. I do have quite a lot of shoes, and you can wear them with a shoe. and a heel, and they look really nice. So you can dress them down or you can really dress them up, you know, so they're really good.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because once you start talking, it's really interesting. You could go on to the whole thing about the joggers trend this season and
Yeah. Oh, and I was doing that 4 years ago. Sorry. So
yeah, but you can do it. You know, this season now, there's so much going on. But you know, I'm conscious that we have had a wonderful, wonderful chat. I could talk to you forever, actually. Before we wrap up, Sarah, tell everybody if they want to come and chat to you about marketing and all that type of thing. Just give us a little bit of point them in the right direction where people can come and find you.
I think the best place to go, the easiest place, is probably to go to Instagram, and it's Sarah Wassell Marketing Mentor.
Okay.
Or you can go to my website, which is Marketing Matters, and all the links will go back to there. But I've got quite a good link tree on Instagram, and it tells you what I'm doing. Lots and lots of freebies that can help and start you off. And I do offer a free 30-minute clarity call for anybody who just wants to sort of sound me out and, you know, talk through their ideas, really. So that's the best thing to do, is to just have a chat.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it has been lovely having a chat to you, I have to say. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to everybody for listening, and I will see you and hear from you again soon. Bye-bye.